The root cause of poverty and inequality is economic and not moral. This is a quote from Kate Richards O'Hare, How I Became a Socialist Agitator, collected from Georgia Mason University. In this speech, I will inform you about the legacy of Kate Richards O'Hare, giving insight to her early life, her activism, and her legacy, all which contributed to Americans' equality and justice for all. Kate Richards O'Hare was a mother, a writer, and an activist. She was born in 1876 on a Kansas prairie. Her family was hardworking and was able to make ends meet. That is until a drought severely affected their quality of life. Kate Richards O'Hare was then introduced to the philosophy of socialism. In 1910, O'Hare became the first woman nominated for U.S. Senate. She ran in the Kansas ticket under socialist. Though she did not win this nomination, this paved the way for women in politics. And no, this happened 10 years before women began to have the right to vote. This was collected from the State Historical Society of Missouri. Her activism continued as she spoke out against the draft for World War I. Her writings and speech ultimately landed her in prison. She was imprisoned under the Espionage Act of 1919. This information is collected from the State Historical Society of Missouri. During her 14 months in prison, she continued to write and document the prison conditions that she experienced. This led for the advocacy of prison reform. She wrote letters about the diseases inside, the food that they ate, the ventilation or lack thereof that they had, the labor injustices, and the lack of access to libraries, which ultimately resulted in low literacy. Kate Richards felt called to action. After she was released from prison, and the letters can be found from the Missouri State Penitentiary. The collection number is C3118. O'Hare emphasized justice and economic equality. She was a trailblazer for women in politics and an early advocate for suffrage and equality. She was a champion of labor justice, linking workers' rights with moral and social reform. She was a defender of civil liberties, challenging censorship and wartime repression. She was also a catalyst for prison reform, transforming her own incarceration into lasting change. Because of O'Hare, we can see things like the 8-hour workday, child labor laws. Though she did not have a hand at signing the document to make those into law, it was her activism that led the way for that to exist. Though we don't hear much of O'Hare's name when we are studying the suffragette movement, she played a monumental role. She used her own experiences to uplift others. She paved the way for women in politics, and she gave a voice to the voiceless, those prisoners who were demanding better conditions were able to receive some sense of justice because of O'Hare's actions. and she continued to advocate for better workers' rights and workers' conditions. She was also at the forefront of the labor unionization movement, something that many people today can still benefit from. Her speeches weren't just powerful, they led to real change. I will finish with a quote from Kate Richards O'Hare. There may be bigger work for me to do than out on the lecture platform. If it is necessary for me to become a convict among criminals in order that I may serve my country there, then I am perfectly willing to perform my service there. This quote from Kate Richards O'Hare shows just how much her legacy is one of fighting for justice for all. Thank you.